I believe he's bringing these countries to the table. He's the president of the United States. This country is the most powerful economy in the world, and it's about time that we get some fair and better trade deals for the United States and the American people.
When Brian Tyler Cohen goes head-to-head with Tomi Lahren, you already know the sparks are going to fly. And this debate? It quickly turned into another example of what happens when confident MAGA talking points collide with actual pushback in real time. Before we dive into the full story, comment where you're watching from, and don't forget to like and subscribe so you don't miss the next one. So Brian Tyler Cohen appeared on the Alex Michelson show to debate Tomi Lahren, and honestly, these conversations are always fascinating to watch because they reveal two completely different approaches to politics. On one side, you have Brian coming in focused on policy, consequences, and facts. On the other side, you have the MAGA media machine doing what it always does best, defending Donald Trump no matter what happens. And let's be real for a second. Tomi Lahren is very good at delivering confident sound bites. That's her brand. Fast talking, aggressive delivery, lots of slogans about America and strength. But confidence alone doesn't automatically make an argument correct. And once this debate started getting into the actual details, you could already see where things were heading. Because this wasn't just another casual political conversation. This was really a clash between two completely different visions of reality. One side arguing that Trump's chaos is somehow part of a master strategy, and the other pointing out that constant instability has real consequences for ordinary people. That's why debates like this are so entertaining online. People are tired of scripted interviews where nobody pushes back. They want to see real confrontation, real disagreement, and real accountability. And Brian Tyler Cohen has built a massive audience precisely because he's willing to challenge these MAGA narratives directly instead of just letting them slide by unchallenged. So we're going to break down the biggest moments from this debate, look at what both sides said, and talk about why some of these arguments are getting a lot harder for Trump supporters to defend right now. Let's get into it.
That's President Trump talking about a roller coaster week for the world's economy as he launched and then pulled back on tariffs. Look who we got with us this week for an exclusive Issue Is debate. Brian Tyler Cohen regularly draws millions of viewers to his YouTube page, one of the most followed in progressive politics. He's host of the No Lie with Brian Tyler Cohen podcast, available wherever you stream. Fox News commentator Tomi Lahren is regularly viewed by millions of people on the right. She is host of Tomi Lahren is Fearless, which drops weekdays at 10 a.m. Pacific time on Outkick.com, Fox Nation, and various social channels. Our past shows with Brian and Tomi were among the highest rated and most viewed online shows we've ever done. It's been a few years since we've had them on together. We needed to cool down over that period. So we're excited to welcome both of you back to The Issue Is.
Thanks for having us.
Thanks for having me. And I would just like to say the last time that I had the pleasure of talking to Brian Tyler Cohen, President Trump was not our president. So it's a great day for me to be here with President Trump back in office, and I can't wait to get into it.
Okay, well, let's begin by what President Trump did this week, Tomi. President Trump's tariffs. There is an escalating trade war going on between the U.S. and China, while the president has placed a 90-day pause on most of his reciprocal tariffs on other countries. Wall Street seemed to like that. We've seen huge swings in the stock market. Tomi, what do you think of the president's trade policy?
Listen, this is the art of the deal at its best, and I understand that there was some volatility on Wall Street, and that's understandable, and I don't ever want to downplay anybody's concerns when it comes to their finances, their 401k, their retirement. I completely understand the anxiety there, but what President Trump has said, and I believe, is this is less about Wall Street and more about Main Street, and what you're also seeing is this president in action. He's managed to, in a couple of days' time, isolate China from the rest of the world, put them in their place. He's got that 90-day pause. Other countries coming to the table, 70 plus, lining up to make deals with this president. So I'm incredibly happy to see this thing play out. I understand the anxiety. I trust the process. I trust this president, and I think that we're off to the races.
Brian, do you trust this president?
I don't think that I trust the president any more than most of the country trust the president on the economy right now. The reality is that this is an economic calamity that he has ushered in, and he's done it unilaterally and voluntarily. If we actually do descend into a full-blown recession, which most people, most economists are predicting that we will right now, it'll be the first time that it's done at the hands of an American president for, completely unforced as an error, a completely unforced error. The reality is that the stock market is tanking. All of our indexes are in correction territory. If a Democratic president did this, Tommy would be apoplectic at the ruin that has been ushered in. And the only time there was some momentary reprieve in the stock market is when Donald Trump himself caved on his own policy. And finally, Tommy, you had mentioned that we're isolating China on the world stage. There's reporting now that Japan and South Korea are negotiating trade deals with China to go around American tariffs. There's reporting that the EU is working with China to eliminate those tariffs for EVs. So I'm concerned that you're not familiar with which country, in fact, is actually being isolated on the world stage. It doesn't look like it's China.
And honestly, Brian Tyler Cohen made one of the strongest points in this debate when he explained that other countries are simply going to work around the United States and make their own deals. And that's exactly what MAGA pundits never want to admit. The rest of the world is not going to sit around waiting for America to stop creating chaos every 4 years. We already saw signs of this during Trump's first term. Allies became less trusting, trade partners started looking elsewhere, and countries began preparing for instability coming out of Washington. But this time feels even worse because now the unpredictability is expected. That's the problem with constant chaos. Businesses hate uncertainty. Markets hate uncertainty. And other countries definitely hate uncertainty when they're trying to make long-term economic or military agreements. If America keeps changing direction every election cycle, eventually the rest of the world starts treating the United States less like a stable leader and more like a risky partner. And then there was Tomi Lahren at the beginning of the debate. I'm not going to lie, her excitement about Trump being back in office felt a little forced. It sounded more like a performance than genuine enthusiasm. And honestly, that raises a bigger question about political media personalities in general. How much of this is real belief, and how much of it is just branding for clicks, views, and money? Because outrage politics has become a massive business online. That's why debates like this are so interesting. Once someone like Brian Tyler Cohen starts pushing back directly, the polished talking points suddenly don't sound quite as convincing anymore.
China needs us far more than we need China, as goes for the rest of the world. I understand the global economy and I understand the anxiety here in the market reacting to it, but it's pretty simple. The way things were going was unsustainable. This president understands that. So that's why he was elected in many ways, for total upheaval. The Democrats are the party of the status quo. Keep everything the same, simply just grow government, have more government jobs. This president doesn't see it that way. He believes in America and he believes in the American people. Not only does he want to bring industry and business back to this country, good paying jobs for hardworking blue collar Americans, but he also understands that he is in a position uniquely to negotiate with the rest of the world, including China. This president is not inflexible. He said he's willing to make deals. He's welcoming these other countries to make deals. But I would say trust the American people, trust American industry, and understand that the way things have been going for the last 4+ years was not sustainable. Somebody had to do it. This president is willing to take the political risk to do it, and he believes in the process. He believes in the American people. He believes in the hardworking Americans that the Democrats would do well to understand they are hemorrhaging. Continue to go to bat for China and Wall Street. I think this president's fighting for the American people, and he's going to win big time because of it.
Tommy, one of your great strengths is that you are connected to so many people in the middle of the country who are hardworking, blue-collar type people. A lot of them voted for Donald Trump because they expected prices to go down. Are you concerned that a lot of President Trump's base is now going to see their own prices go up and they can't afford that?
Listen, I think we've seen from the report that not only is inflation cooling, the consumer price index has been favorable to this president. Again, the egg prices that they wanted to go down within the first day of the inauguration, those egg prices are down. Oil is down, so your gas prices are going to go down. That's going to fuel the economy in great and wonderful ways. I understand that anytime you make a dramatic transition, the markets are going to react to that. There is a nature of unpredictability, but I would say trust the process, trust this president, and you know what, Alex? If this doesn't work out in 6 months to a year, have us back on. I will eat crow. But for right now, I'm betting on the negotiator in chief. I believe he's bringing these countries to the table. He's the president of the United States. This country is the most powerful economy in the world. And it's about time that we get some fair and better trade deals for the United States and the American people.
And
that's what this president's doing.
And Brian, I mean, Tomi talks about this, but policies like NAFTA, a lot of folks in the middle of the country felt really hurt them, really hurt manufacturing, and did not help them, even though it made Wall Street richer. What about those folks?
The reality is that if the economy is cratering, which Donald Trump is ushering right now, that's not going to help anybody. It's not going to help those folks in the middle of the country. It's not going to help the folks who are looking to reshore jobs back in the United States. The market is looking for one thing, and that is, first of all, stability and a good faith negotiating partner. Donald Trump has proven that he is neither one of those things, which, by the way, is why foreign countries are dumping American bonds right now. And so that shows that no one is willing to invest in the United States across the world because they see that there is no stability in this country. And we talk about our trading partners. We've shown nothing but hostility to our trading partners. We've shown nothing but hostility to Mexico, to Canada. And so are these people going to be more likely to invest in the United States, more likely to get into business with Donald Trump, or less likely? We like to think of ourselves as this global behemoth that's beyond the reach of all of these other foreign countries, but we live in a globalized economy right now. And the fact is that we're not going to be able to do a lot of what we rely on other countries to do right here in the United States. We rely on a global economy. And right now, Donald Trump is doing nothing but making it more difficult for us to be able to negotiate those deals. And if he's tanking the economy in the meantime, that's not going to help anybody, whether they're in the middle of the country or on the coast of the country, whether they're Democrats or Republicans.
Toward the end of this debate, Brian Tyler Cohen brought up something that almost everybody in business understands: markets hate uncertainty. Investors hate chaos. And whether people support Donald Trump or not, one thing that has followed him for years is constant unpredictability. That's why this whole situation feels so strange. Corporate America already knew what Trump's first term looked like. The trade wars, the sudden policy changes, the non-stop drama, none of this is new. But many large corporations still prioritize tax cuts and short-term profits, and now some of them seem shocked that markets are unstable again. And then you have Tomi Lahren trying to rebrand MAGA as the movement that suddenly cares about Main Street over Wall Street. But politicians like Bernie Sanders, Elizabeth Warren, and Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez have been talking about helping working-class Americans for years. That's what makes this debate interesting. One side keeps saying trust the process, while the other side is pointing out that ordinary people are the ones who end up paying the price when economic experiments go wrong. And honestly, once Brian Tyler Cohen started pushing back on those talking points directly, a lot of the MAGA messaging started sounding much weaker. But let me know what you think. Who won this debate, Brian Tyler Cohen or Tomi Lahren?